Live, Eric Metcalf, Leroy Hort, Mike Tomzak, and Frank, what's your name?
Dog Pounder.
Dog Pounder Stamps, raw and unfiltered. So we're talking about rap names, and he's going with Dog Pounder. Let me know if you like that. Leroy, what's your rap name?
Mouth of the South.
Mouth of the South. T-Zac, what's your rap name? Spin it. Nice, nice, nice.
Okay, how about Doggy Style?
And I would go with the Mighty Quinn. Quinn being my middle name.
Oh, Mighty Quinn, I like that. Hey, is Doggy Style taken?
To some extent.
Well, is there a rapper out there called
No,
Dog?
I mean,
How
but
about just Doggy?
if you think Doggy Style, the first person they think of is Snoop, right?
Okay, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to.
How about downward facing dog, like in yoga?
How about downward dog?
Right now you're sounding like the whitest rapper ever.
Yep.
If you say downward facing dog.
Downward facing dog.
Show now. Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk Browns Nation. Let's talk about Deshaun. What do you think Deshaun's rap name should be? Soft shoulder?
No, here's the problem.
What?
Right?
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Wait, so now here's the deal. Here's the problem.
Here's the problem. The problem is that just because a doctor cleared you to play don't mean you could play.
Right.
Why are we just making that assumption?
Dude.
So I'm not going there.
No,
I'm not going to go
Look
there.
here. So look here. So Frankie, I'm sorry, Dog Pounder. Dog Pounder.
Right.
If he gets cleared, he goes out there and plays Sunday, and he plays like shit, then you come on here and you talk about him, right? And everybody else around talks about how bad he was and he's not worth the $230 million. He's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
No.
Right? But
No.
because if he doesn't play, he gets himself healthy, not only physically, but obviously mentally. Then he comes back and plays better.
That's not dope.
Oh,
That's no dope.
Frank, I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this for an hour. I'm not doing this.
Hey,
I'm not doing this.
That is.
You listen to a couple of rap songs and then you're a rapper.
Oh, bro.
I'm not doing it.
I'm a
I'm
chill.
not-
You're looking at Leroy.
I'm not
You're
doing this.
listen.
I don't
I'm so
care.
chill, Leroy. I'm so chill. You have. I'm so chill. You won't
Hey, so-
even. You don't even know me
so
anymore.
catch this flow right now.
All right.
Come on, Mighty Quinn.
He's got to get himself together, regardless of what, like Leroy said, the doctor cannot say he's cleared and he feels good. That doesn't mean you feel good.
Yeah. No. I feel you.
You ever got your knee checked and the doctor said structurally it was okay, and then you limped out of the doctor's office?
Listen, man, you guys, I feel you. I've not had a chance. I'm letting you get it all out.
No, because you're gonna have
This is
some
the
messed
new-
up
This
twist
is
on
the
it.
new Frank, man. This is the chill. So I say, so what I say is, so let's take what Eric said, and he gets cleared to play, and he goes out there, and he plays hurt, and he wins the game for the Browns. And now we're all saying Deshaun for governor, Deshaun for president of the United States, Deshaun Superman. Deshaun defeated the big bad Ravens with one being hurt.
But guess what? But now Deshaun can't play next week.
We don't know that.
I'm just saying, if he takes that chance, then
listen, dude, that's what them big long
against the
that's
Ravens.
what them big long needles are for. Stick it right down, stick it right into that shoulder and squeeze the.
You know what, Frank? You talking like the max contract is $5 million a year, not 30.
What's he got to worry about? His money's guaranteed.
But that's not the point, though. The
Well,
point is that every time you go out there, you expect to play like a $30 million guy. And I'm not going to tell, we are in no position to tell somebody else how healthy they are to play.
So why so LeBron? So you guys know this. You guys know this.
Everybody's different.
I know. Listen, I know that, but you guys know this. So it was to me what I was told as a rookie. Once the business end, once you report to camp or you report to the team or whenever you got your business side of football, and that's nobody else's business. Any other player gets into the money side of what you're doing. It's none of his business, and he's running the risk of getting in a confrontation with you, an altercation, and that's not his business. But once that deal is signed and you report to camp, or you become now the football. Now we're talking about the football end, and the football end is what I know is if you're cleared to play, then you play. Not because
that doesn't
basically
make
what
you
you're telling
healthy.
me is
Because
Deshaun
Frank,
made a business decision.
Frank,
That doesn't make you
nobody
healthy.
can tell you how healthy you are. That's the problem you fail to realize.
The doctors do.
No, the doctor can't tell you can go out there
Yeah,
and play.
the doctors can.
Wait,
the doctors
so you wait.
tell you.
So
The
wait,
doctors
let me
can
get this
tell you
straight.
how
Hold
healthy
on.
you are.
Let me ask you a
They
question.
cannot.
Let me ask you a question. So the doctor can come and look at you and say, you should be able to go out there and play like Deshaun Watson.
We're talking about a bruised shoulder.
Yeah.
We're not talking about a knee.
Okay.
We're not talking about structural damage here. We're talking about inflammation.
Stop trying to determine
swelling
how
in the
hurt
shoulder.
somebody else is. That's
Oh,
your
God.
problem.
Well, hey, listen, man, I respectfully disagree with you, Leroy. I just know that it listen, if I got that same situation,
You're
You
not
don't have to throw the
him.
ball.
no, I get it. I'm expected to play, and as a
You
teammate,
don't throw the ball.
because he's taking money out of my pocket.
Is he?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You
he
take
is.
a lot
If I'm
more
a
if you go
player,
out there and can't throw.
if I'm a player on that team and he doesn't go out there and play, because I'll tell you this, Deshaun at 70% is better than the backup at 100%. Mike Tomczak, weigh in on that.
Here's the problem.
He left.
You are determining
Did he
somebody
leave?
else. You're determining somebody else's health,
Right.
and that ain't gonna fly.
So Frank, if I'm injured, which I have been, and the doctor clears me and says you can go out there and play because he thinks I can now run 4.7, but I can't run 4.3. Am I healthy? You don't hear me?
Yeah, you said if
Am I healthy? Am I healthy? I'm cleared to play, but am I
I'm
healthy?
texting Mike to come back. What's that?
No. Am I? I said if the doctor clears me and says I can play and I'm able to run 4.7, but I can't run 4.3, am I healthy?
Yeah, you're healthy.
To do what?
To do what?
You're healthy to run 4.7.
I don't run like you guys. So that takes away from what I do, right?
Yeah, but
If I can't run 4.3, then I can't beat Eric Metcalf, right? So although he was clear, he felt like he couldn't beat Deshaun Watson.
yeah, I listen. I appreciate the the analogy of what you're saying, but I just don't think let's look at I would rather have you in there at 4.7 than I would
But
have.
it's not up to you. It's up to Matt.
Right.
That's the point we're trying to make.
Well,
So you want me to go out there and be-
so let me ask you a question. So
Sure.
where does that stop? Where
What do
where
you
the
mean, where
doctor
does it stop?
I come to the
Each
stadium.
individual is different.
I come to the stadium and I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling right.
No, there's a
And
difference.
I say, hey, listen, man, it's just not. I just
No,
don't feel good.
there's a difference in not feeling
Why?
right.
Why
and
is
not
it?
being- You think so?
What's
You think
the- what's the
he
difference?
think he just wasn't feeling right, so he should have played.
Well, that's
That's
exactly
how you look at it.
that's
You are
exactly what it is.
But you are determining how injured he is.
No, the doctor determined.
No, he can't
He
do it
doesn't.
either.
Yes, he can. That's why
No,
he's
he
a doctor.
can't.
No,
The doctor
all he can
said
tell you is
all he can say
you.
is he's
It
not
is
as
safe. The doctor is saying you are safe to play.
right. He's not saying you're healed. He's not saying
Yeah, he
you-
is. Yeah, that's exactly what he's
No,
saying.
he's
He's
not.
saying
No, he's
yes, you
not.
are. You what do you mean healed? You are
He-
healed.
Meaning
You are not gonna. You are barring any additional contact any additional injuries. You know, if he goes out there and he's not touched, he goes out there and, you know, he gets rid of the ball. He's not sacked. He hands the ball off. Barring any of that, any additional trauma to the shoulder, he just wakes up and he's sore the next day.
When the
It's
last
not
time
like
you saw a
it's
quarterback
not,
not
the doctor's not clearing you to say, well, if you go out there and do what you're supposed to do, you're going to be worse.
When's the last time you saw a quarterback not get touched in a complete game? I'm waiting.
I don't know. I can't. I've seen Brady.
1920
you,
when the game was started.
So, Mike, tell me, weigh in on this, because obviously these guys are totally wrong, and you set them straight.
I speak for myself. Thanks, Frank. But it's an individual decision. I had a teammate. Here's a prime example. I had a teammate that was cleared to play after a concussion the previous week. He was cleared to play over the phone by a team doctor. He goes out that following Sunday and gets injured for life.
Oh, God.
Okay.
What
All
is
right.
that?
So,
what do you mean injured for life?
Head trauma. He had to retire. He's still, functioning, but not functioning, but traumatic brain injury, because some slappy ass doctor clears him to play, and he takes that word from the doctor. Just because you take the word from the doctor, and he was naive, he was still concussed. I think Deshaun Watson realizes what's at stake here. He's got a lot of equity,
so
and
that's a
then
good
Browns
question.
have a lot of equity.
What is at stake?
Let me finish. I'm sorry. What's at stake? His
what is
future,
at stake?
his career, the franchise. He's a franchise quarterback. Frank, there have been times when I had to take a Toradol shot to go out there and play, even though my shoulder was injured, because I felt didn't want to let my teammates down. Was it stupid on my part, naive? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I knew I was better than the backup. Okay. But the fact of the matter is, I made that personal decision based on, I didn't want to lose my job. I was, in a contract year and everything. Deshaun is well established. I mean, his future is so bright. It's amazing. So I don't discard him for saying, hey, I don't feel right. Kevin Stefanski watched him work out. He saw the course of action throughout the course of the week to see this guy can't throw. He can't throw 15, 10 yards down the field and get 14 days of rest coming into a bye week. I mean, let's look at this realistically, Frank. It's a different position altogether. It truly is. He's a franchise dude.
T-Zach, you really didn't help his cause, and it's killing him right now.
No. I'm not going to be. No, I'm not going to be.
No, but he told me.
Did Leroy leave?
Hey, I spin it. Hey, this rapper talks to his own drum and beats to his own drum. You hear me? You feel me?
Right.
You feel me?
I feel you. I feel you.
But Frank, I just think that
Listen, I respect you guys' opinion.
Absolutely.
You're being naive from this standpoint. A doctor wiggling your knee and saying structurally nothing's wrong, and then watch you get up and limp out of there, don't mean you healthy.
Right.
And so then they go
being a little dramatic. That's
no,
not what we're
it's
talking about.
dude.
Nobody's limping.
Well, hold on.
Nobody's limping.
Hold on. I got fined $15,000 by the Minnesota Vikings for cussing out a team doctor because I went in after a game and told him something was wrong with my knee, and he shook it around and said, structurally it's okay. And I said, God damn it, I'm limping. Find out what's wrong.
I didn't say was it okay structurally. I said my shit hurts.
Right. Exactly. So I ain't taking the word of some clown that meets every Monday with the team to tell you what's wrong with you. And you're not there to talk for yourself. You can put whatever twist. You can put whatever twist you want on it.
There's a lot of those guys. There's a lot of those team doctors that are doing great work, and those players, after they get a lot of them, they get operated on, and they say, "Man, the guy saved my career." They ain't calling these guys clowns.
Okay,
no,
that's fine.
No, I agree.
But I'm telling you that a doctor clearing you to play doesn't make you healthy.
It doesn't make you not healthy.
Oh.
Let me ask you guys this. Was this the first time that we got knowledge that there was Stefanski went public with the fact that the doctor cleared him to play?
Here's the problem.
Why would
really talk about it?
You know why he said that?
Why would they go public?
Why?
You know why? because he wasn't on the injury report, and they didn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, I
That's
got you.
it. That's it. So he had to come out and say that it was Deshaun Watson's decision because they didn't put him on the injury report. That's it.
It said questionable though on Friday, didn't it?
Yeah,
Didn't
but
I don't know. Well, listen, I was out at. I think I'm the only one on the broadcast that was out at practice Saturday. I saw him. I saw him throw the ball. I didn't see him. I didn't see him limping. I saw him taking snaps. I saw him throw the ball downfield. Now, it wasn't at the pace that you play a football game.
So now you a doctor.
I have a minor. I have a minor.
I have a
medical degree from
limping with
Tijuana.
a shoulder.
Because that's
what we got to get back to that part first.
What?
Why the hell would he be limping because of his sore shoulder?
No, I didn't bring.
Yes, you did just say that.
No, Leroy's the one.
No, but you just said I didn't see him limping.
Well, yeah, no, I didn't, because it's not a lower body issue. It's a upper body issue, and the way I see it, and hey, listen, I could be wrong, and I've been wrong before.
And you are again.
I will never be wrong again. Is the way I see it is he just didn't. It just didn't feel right. He's got some discomfort. He's got some pain, but structurally,
that's what we said.
Yeah, but structurally, he's fine.
So what does that
He's
mean?
not gonna. A doctor wouldn't, in my opinion, the doctor wouldn't clear him.
You are lying.
If he went out there,
you are wrong. That's not true. That's not true.
A doctor would.
That's not true.
So you think
what's going on? You know what's going on right now? Going back to this rap thing. Frank is putting out songs that aren't real life right now.
Right.
He was in a recording studio.
Going back to this rap thing.
He recording songs about gangbanging and selling drugs. And he went to a prep school.
Right. Right.
Hey, here's a question for you guys. I think the bigger issue is DTR.
Yes, that's a lot for a rookie quarterback.
So let me ask you this.
there.
So I'm gonna do this.
I'm saying, guys, but let's say this: if it's a lingering injury, go ahead, Eric.
So in regards to DTR, playing against the Ravens, number 3 defense in the league, division game, playing for the division lead and all that. Can we expect him to go? Should we expect him to go out there and lead this team like we would expect Deshaun Watson? I say no. I'll get back to you guys after this. Now,
I say yeah.
So now, for me, and I'm going all in on this. It is Kevin Stefanski's job
to put him in a position,
make it easy for him.
Right.
No matter what's going on, don't ask him to throw the ball 15, 20 yards down the field.
Yeah.
Do like Shanahan does. Throw it to the side. Let them guys run and make plays.
Matt, you know what it looked like? It looked like Kevin Stefanski was trying to get back at Deshaun Watson for not playing by putting DTR in the same position and making him play quarterback like Deshaun should have played.
I don't know about that.
They didn't alter. Let me explain. They didn't alter the game plan or make it easier for that man to succeed at all.
Good.
And I'm saying
the job is to win, Frank.
And I'm not
the
saying
job is to win, not to prove a point.
Yeah, no, I guarantee you. I guarantee you, DTR got better. He got better.
Look here. He might have got better, but we don't know it yet because the way they made him look on Sunday. And I'm not saying he went out there and played the perfect game. It just wasn't the chips just didn't fall in the right spot. I'm saying Stefanski did not make it easy on him. He went out there as if Deshaun was back there.
Deshaun, yesterday, in my opinion, Sunday, Deshaun Watson wasn't going to beat the Ravens. They just it was just their day. I mean, they beat the 28.
They had 3 drives. They had three drives, guys. Right, 3 drives were the difference in the game. Right.
Look here. Look, we can go stats. Lamar passed for 165 yards.
2 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns.
Right. Okay, they ran for 131 yards. These dudes were short field the whole game.
Right. Turnovers. bad mistakes.
Except that 93-yard drive, though. They had a 93-yard drive, right?
Okay, so that makes that even validates my point more.
Yeah.
Oh man, I tell you, you guys have short memories. This is the
Are we in the dog pound? Are we still in the dog pound? Wrong Uncensored. That's right. Wrong Uncensored with Eric Metcalf, Leroy Horde, Mike Tomzak, and Funky Frank. Bringing it to you live.
He's hiding his eyes for a reason.
Right. So listen, man, we're just not that. We are 2-2. You are.
You know what's amazing? We sound like fans. We sound like fans debating over the bunch of bullshit that really is not taking place. So Deshaun didn't play. The team's got to step up. If they don't turn the football over, they still got a fighting chance.
Right.
Think
of how bad think of how bad it would have been if the defense didn't play halfway decent. Right? Because look, they held them to under 300 yards. A total.
There were 5 punts. Yeah, there were 3. First
they
two
didn't need
series
any
were 3 and outs. Yeah.
So
we could sit around.
They put an ass kicking on the Browns. They beat them.
I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't go there.
I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't go there. Look, there was a lot of mistakes. I think that DTR.
How come when we beat a team 28-3?
But DTR got put in a tough spot. They didn't do anything to try to help him or assist him, being his first start, right? And it showed. He made some mistakes that a veteran or a more seasoned player at that position would not make. And so I'm not going to put it all on him, but what did you expect from a first start from a rookie?
Here's the deal.
And to answer your question, Frank, when we beat a team 28-3, it's an ass whooping because they had their entire lineup out there.
All right. Okay. Here's the deal. The deal is Stefanski and the Browns threw Deshaun under the bus by calling him out, saying that he was cleared to play and not putting him on the injury report. Secondly, is they said, you know what? That changes everything, because I thought that if he wasn't cleared to play, wasn't able to play, the Browns, I don't know. I just, I don't know.
Here's the problem, Frank. The problem is this: Kevin Stefanski doing that. If it rubs Deshaun the wrong way, guess who's going to be here and guess who's not? So I don't know why he would do that. Right?
Good point.
I don't know why you would do that to the one guy you are linked to as far as success or failure.
Hey.
Yeah, maybe that'd be
knowing there's another guy somewhere around this league who coached him and he was leading the league and going to Pro Bowls.
That just is a whole nother that is, maybe he didn't, maybe I take that back. He didn't throw him under the bus, because really, like you said, what's in it for him? What's the advantage there by throwing the guy that you're depending on winning games and taking you to the playoffs and keeping the guy that's going to be a big part of you keeping your job? Why would you throw him under the bus? I just think the Browns, I think they thought that you can't make the guy play. If he's and he sounds like, but I think the Browns saw that as a game that, and like you guys are saying, I see the other side of it is, they're better off with a healthy Deshaun in 2 weeks. And they felt that game was, that game could be sacrificed. They felt 2-2 in the month of September. Okay, we can live with that.
It's not about sacrificing. They still thought they could go out there and have a chance of winning this game.
No, I agree, but
it just didn't make the young kid comfortable and make it easy on him.
Right.
Well, even when the running game was non-existent, so it's not
running sideways and stuff.
Yeah, exactly, Eric. And they lost the center, early in the third quarter. The nucleus of the offensive line. Conklin, that left tackle, needs to get his ass chewed out a little bit.
So that takes me back to my point is the Browns weren't going to beat them at all. They had the offensive line played poorly. The quarterback played poorly.
Yeah, but
I'll give you the running backs weren't used.
When you have a veteran quarterback, he knows how to work around those things because he's been there before. You look at DTR, how much I mean, think about it. He ain't never faced nothing like that in his football career.
His eyes might have been this big, Leroy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, fellas, please help me out.
You're just
Eric, I
saying
need a big one.
You're saying Deshaun Jackson or Deshaun Watson turns that you're saying based on I look at that performance and I'm saying Deshaun Watson isn't going to be the difference maker in that game.
Why'd you pay him $230 million?
Wait, Gardner Minshew was.
I didn't pay him anything.
Gardner Minshew was. Why can't Deshaun Watson be?
Who?
Gardner Minshew.
That's my point. Just last week, Gardner Minshew beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're talking about the cat from
Baltimore.
Indianapolis.
Hey, back up from the coast. Beat them.
Yeah,
So,
but that game, I didn't see that game, but that game was probably more competitive. The Browns, that game wasn't competitive on
it's
Sunday.
hard to be competitive when you turn the ball over.
But
okay, that's part of the game, though.
So you
can't just say, "Oh, we're going to win the game," because when we want to turn the ball over, we're going to win the game. That's like a guy. Hey, listen, that's like a guy that I played golf. I swear you'll like this, Leroy. I played golf with a guy.
I'm telling you, you saying it, I'm not going to like.
He said to me, he goes, my game would shoots in the 90s. He said, no, my game would be a lot better if I didn't have these fairway woods I had to hit all the time. I said, well, simple. Just don't hit your fairway woods, and it'll take 16 strokes off your game. No, his game is bad. The Browns were bad on Sunday.
You're assuming that it's going to be bad with Deshaun out there. That's what you're saying.
What I'm saying is Deshaun. It was going to be like Pittsburgh.
Because the first
Deshaun had a bad game at Pittsburgh.
Why couldn't it be like Tennessee?
Well, that goes back to your opinion versus my opinion. That's why we do the show.
So
what I'm saying is it's not unprecedented. Deshaun has a bad game.
You're saying Deshaun would have played exactly like DTR did.
I'm not saying that. No.
I'm saying that there's a lot of mistakes DTR made Deshaun wouldn't make. And if you don't have those turnovers, the game's in a different place.
Frank, when you went to practice on Saturday, did DTR take any reps?
Yeah.
A lot of them, or
he didn't take the majority, but he took
right.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys all know the process. So I was with Rick Lyle. You guys remember Rick?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Played defensive line. Rick went on to be a assistant strength coach. Yeah. And I asked him, we were tailgating together before we went in the game. Rick played for those Browns Nation. By the way, you're listening to In the Dog Pound, Browns Nation, talking Browns football, reviewing, recapping the game 4 versus the Baltimore Ravens. Browns lose 28-3. In the Dog Pound with Leroy Horde, Eric Metcalf, Mike Tomczak, Frank Stams. Raw and unfiltered, found everywhere where you find your favorite podcast. And Rick said, and you guys know this, the process Sunday morning. I don't think that decision was made, but a lot of people do. So when was the decision made? So a lot of people, the process typically is you go out there game day and you warm up for a half hour. Mike, you can speak to that. I'm sure you were in a similar situation a lot. And then you make a determination then.
We never did all that crap before the game. To be quite honest with you, we went out there as a team. We went out there as a team, but
I was saying that also.
Right, Eric? I mean, usually the injured guys, the guys that are questionable, Leroy, right, would go out there and run and be a conditioning coach and a performance coach out there, and a trainer would say, how you feel? Can you change a direction? Can you throw the ball? Can you break on the ball? All that stuff. And then they make a decision from there whether they're going to be active or inactive.
And guess what? That's all guys who have been cleared to play.
Right, because the Pittsburgh game, the 2 punt return game, I was not supposed to play, but I went out there before and I said I'm good. I can do this.
Because you're the Mighty Quinn. Because you're the Mighty Quinn.
And we know the rest.
And
we know the rest. So I'm just saying.
That'll be your speech, man. That'll be your speech in the Hall of Fame.
When I'm standing outside that thing,
yeah, right.
Let me in. Let me pick it and let me in. In.
So what happens? 2-2. Okay, Baltimore's got 1 game advantage over in the Central Division here, or the North, I should say, which isn't much. I mean, Are they an elite team? A team that the Browns cannot catch or anyone else in the division can't catch? I don't think so. Back to your point earlier, Frank, I mean, Gardner Minshew, I mean, he kept the Colts in the game to get him into overtime, and they did a heck of a job on the defensive side, but they got after Lamar Jackson that Indianapolis game. I don't think the Browns, did they sack Lamar at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
3 times.
Thank you.
I didn't have to look it up.
It wasn't, listen, if the defense hadn't done what they did, it would have been a lot worse with all the short fields that they got. Right? So, and the why we can say that the game would have been different with Deshaun Watson is there's just certain mistakes a veteran quarterback doesn't make. Right?
Throw the ball away and punt it, right? Throw the ball away.
And he understands that. A young quarterback wants to go in there a lot of times and make plays, and he forces throws. That's not just DTR. That's a lot of young quarterbacks have to go through that. And most of them have preparation. He didn't get no prep. His prep was talking to Kevin Stefanski before the game.
Well, that's a good question because a lot of people are speculating he wore this outfit Sunday morning that led a lot of people to believe that he knew that he was going to get.
Word on the street is they knew.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the word on the street. I mean, but
Speaking of outfits, what was Njoku doing with his outfit? Was that just a prop, or was it just trying to get the?
He burned his face.
I had no idea.
He burned his face in a
Friday night.
Fire pit.
I was in Northern Iowa getting ready to play
and
the Panthers.
Played. He had burns on his face.
He doesn't catch with his face. And I'm not trying to make light of it, but he doesn't catch with his face.
Or throw or run.
So he burned his face lighting a fire pit.
Yes.
Oh my God. Because I read something from Stefanski. He goes, how do we move forward? He goes, well, as long as we don't burn ourselves. I thought it meant like turnovers or something.
No.
I had no idea.
Do you think everybody?
Wow.
Do you think anybody else in that game played with some pain? I'm not talking about injury because if you're injured, the doctor wouldn't clear you. But I'm talking about pain.
Let's talk about doctors. Who is our doctor in Cleveland? Who is our doctor in Cleveland?
Nobody's listening to Frank. Do you think people play with their ankles hurt but can't run fast? No.
But Frank, let me ask you this. If that's the case, then why, when you have those 3 or 4 guys that go out and work out before the game, how come they all don't play? Because they all been cleared to play, but they go out and work out and they can't go.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Deshaun was.
No, but you didn't answer my question.
He could have been menstruating.
Those guys have been cleared to play.
Vaginitis.
Why don't they all play?
What'd you just say? Yeah.
I think his.
Oh man. Well, let's tour the division. How we doing in division? We're just a game behind, like I was talking about. They got the off week. They get healthy. I see Myles Garrett had a little injury himself. He had a boot on. Anyone else considered hobbling after the game that you guys know of?
Wait,
no.
You said Myles. You said Polchik.
The center. Yeah. But they got the guy that got hurt last year. He replaced him, correct? He was coming off an ACL.
Nick Harris.
Center. Yeah.
Nick Harris. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're one game out. With 2 weeks, I mean, the next game's going to be rough, no question.
Oh, boy.
That next game's going to be rough.
I actually think if they play a good game, they can beat San Francisco.
With DTR, with Deshaun?
No, they ain't going to win with DTR. And I'll tell you what, they're going to be an underdog with Deshaun.
Everybody's going to be an underdog.
Everybody going to be an underdog against San Fran.
Everybody.
There ain't no team that they would play in the NFL where they would be an underdog except maybe Philly.
Dallas.
And that's only if this week they ain't an underdog.
At Dallas.
They play Dallas this week.
Play Dallas this week.
You said Philly. Who else?
Maybe Kansas City.
Who else?
Kansas City.
Maybe.
Kansas City.
You know what? No, because
the Jets.
No.
Miami. What about Miami?
Hey, Well, I don't know. At Baltimore, they Baltimore. I'll tell you that team, that Baltimore
Dude,
team, that Baltimore team was
San
nasty.
Francisco has been playing football the beginning of this year like it's December.
Hey,
They're
look
the
here,
only
Frank,
team that's been doing it in the league.
I got a memory like an elephant. You can't be talking about that Baltimore team was nasty when you earlier said Lamar was going to be unhappy and they were going to be terrible.
No, I did say that.
I know. I'm
I
making
did,
sure you
I
remember
did
that.
say that, and he proved me wrong. Sunday, he had a good game. My thing with Lamar, and I mentioned this
He
before.
played on a little field.
Last year or 2 years ago, I said he came out of the locker room like Superman and beat the Browns.
He
So
played on a
Frank,
6-10 football field.
Frank, they had less than 300 total yards.
That's because they had a short
touchdowns.
field every time they got the ball.
He had 27. Right, exactly. So how you say that's the point we're trying to make?
No, the point I'm making is they did everything they needed to do to win. I mean, they held the Browns. Not that was some major tad to 3 points. They scored 28. I mean, you get into a situation like that, in the fourth quarter, you're not. They could have maybe scored more. I mean, you're just trying to run the clock out and shorten the game at that point and go home. It's not like, I mean, I'll tell you, at 35-3, I mean, that game could have been 35-3. Anyways, listen, Baltimore surprised me. They proved, I didn't think hey, listen, you guys know this. That team continues to prove me wrong because I'm not. I just don't. I don't know what it is. I just kind of don't like the franchise. Maybe it's because Hanford's always telling us how good they are. But they listen. Harbaugh's done a good job. That team is aggressive and they're mean and Lamar Jackson's a good quarterback, but I just think he lacks a little consistency. To get him to the Super Bowl. That's all.
The one thing about him is he doesn't really care what happens during the course of the game, as long as you give him a chance to win it.
Right. I agree with that, Eric.
And so so we're talking about the division, and there was a question the other day on our TV show about who was the best, ranked the coaches in the AFC North, and who won?
Harbaugh.
I would say either Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin.
So in the poll, the people in Cleveland, Tomlin by a landslide, which I would think. Stefanski second, Harbaugh third, Zach Taylor. Even though he's been in the Super Bowl
and the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
It's interesting. If you're listening to the radio, I was in Pittsburgh doing something yesterday, driving through there on a Monday. Tomlin's not a fan favorite now. Nor is it Canada, nor is Pickett.
He's been in that situation before, though.
Tomlin?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And I'm a Mike Tomlin fan. I'm a Mike Tomlin fan, but it's interesting how these fans, the perspective that they have, and sometimes we fall into that fan-like mode, Frank. We fall into that fan-like mode and try to make up stuff that's not real. And we try to speculate by not being a practice. You guys know what it's like when we were playing. Eliminate the outside noise and focus on the inside noise.
Right.
Was the most important thing in our life at that time.
Yeah.
So sometimes we speculate.
Yeah.
So what happens moving forward?
When you're not there to the day, I did the fan 92.3 yesterday at 1:00, and they asked me something about what would I've done differently in the game. I said, you can't. I'm so I can tell people what's going on. I think when you get out on the field, maybe what's happening, when you get beat like that, or maybe what happened in the locker room. But as far as scheming and all that, it is so hard, to get yourself into that when you're not there doing it day to day, and then evaluating people's play. I mean, this a lot of what we do is we're speculating at what the play is, but it's an educated guess based on our experience. So but we do see things that stand the test of time. That I mean, there's there's a couple of ways to win, but I think there's 1,000 ways to lose. And so, Eric asked the question, where are we now? You got to get your playmaker.
You know what?
You got to find a running back.
You're 2-2, 1 game behind. You got to play Baltimore again. You got a week off. You go get healthy, and you come out the following week. That's it.
And it could be half a game out. If San Francisco beats them, they could be a half a game out. Going into their game against San Francisco.
Right.
In 2 weeks, right? So, yeah. Again, we're speculating, but Deshaun came off his best game of the year, right? The game against Tennessee. So you thought the momentum was moving forward. Right. I didn't realize that he was injured that much, but he drives that team, guys. Nick Chubb drove that team for many, many years, without Deshaun. And when he got here, he was starting to get into his groove, right? He played decent against Cincinnati, he played horrible against Pittsburgh, and then he comes back, the following week against Tennessee and has an extremely good game. We were raving about him. Hanford Dixon was just elated to say, I can't wait to get down there and see how the Browns are going to perform against these Baltimore Ravens. And right?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Mike. I was excited. I went up there with my wife. It was alumni weekend, saw a lot of guys that, I saw Eric, Leroy. I wish you'd have been there. Mike, I understand that you were traveling with the team. It was a great weekend. The Browns did a nice job. We did a little Top Golf Friday afternoon. Saturday, they invited us out to practice. They had a luncheon that Jimmy Haslam was at on Saturday afternoon. They did the luncheon down at the stadium.
Cigars and bourbon.
Yeah. And, and then, of course, the game, they did a nice little tailgater at the Science Center that a lot of us were invited to. I saw Dan Fike. I hadn't seen Dan in forever. A couple other guys, Eddie Sutter. I don't know, Eddie and I played linebacker together, a lot of special teams together. It looks great. And a couple other guys, they bring back memories that I'd forgotten, and I was so excited to go to the game. And then, I didn't get to see much because we were in the tunnel for the entire second quarter. Right. And then finally got back to my seat about halfway through the third quarter. And then my wife wanted to leave because she was pissed that the Browns were losing. So, it's just kind of,
she wanted a 5 o'clocker.
Yeah.
She wanted to get home and get a 5 o'clocker.
Yeah. You're right. I'm more of a morning person. She's not.
There you go.
I'm good up until about 1 o'clock, noon, 1 o'clock, and then
testosterone goes down.
And that's why he has those glasses on, because he punched him in his eye for not giving her one.
Right. But yeah, and I think the people, man, I'm listening to talk radio here, the fans, I mean, they are freaking pissed. They are pissed. And like I said, I did the show. It's like, a week ago was a love fest. Everybody was loving on each other. And that's just that's the emotional swing of, win one week and lose the next. They're 2-2. And you guys know this. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. If they go undefeated in the month of the schedule could set up that way. It's not a strong schedule in December. If they go 2-1 here, they only play 3 games in October. That puts them at what, 4-3, and then, win the majority of your games, you get to 9 games. I mean, how many games is it going to take? I know it's way early.
4 games, so the most they can be is they can be 4-2, right?
Correct.
They could be 4-2. So Frank, so this goes back to the point with all that you just said. Why the hell should Deshaun Watson have tried it?
I understand the reasoning, Eric. I understand. I'm not from that. I'm not from that. That's not my DNA. I don't. If the doctor,
can I tell you what the difference is?
Let me finish.
The honest
and then you can tell me. It's just like, I mean, it's just you. If you can go, you go. Jim McMahon played hurt. Didn't he play with a lacerated kidney?
Yeah, he was ruled out. He had a cervical injury too, but
didn't he have to turn and hand it off to one of the greatest running backs in the history of the game?
Okay.
Well, he did that too, but he threw the speedy Willie Gault too in that Thursday night game against Minnesota. He came off the bench. He was ruled out. He was ruled out, but he told Ditka that day that I'm going to suit up and I'll be ready to go. And he was in Ditka's ear from the get-go.
And Mike, I'm sure you played hurt.
We all played hurt, guys. We all played hurt, but you can't question.
That's where I'm coming from.
You can't question another man.
But you're trying. But here's what you're doing, Frank. You're trying to determine how hurt Deshaun Watson was. That's where we have a problem.
No, the doctor determined that for me.
No.
I'm going off what the doctor said he's cleared to go. That's what my determination
But
is.
the doctor can't tell you how you feel.
Well, that to me, the doctor. Listen, the doctor's the guy opening me up to repair my. I trust the doctor more than you guys do.
No, it's not that. It's not that. Okay.
No, I get what you're saying.
Frank,
I get what you're saying. The doctor can't tell me if I'm going to be at 100%. The doctor
every week you see 3 or 4 guys go out before the team and run around and work out to see if they can play or not. They've all been cleared, okay? But some of them can't play.
I get all that. I get everything that you guys are saying. I'm saying the guy should have played freaking hurt. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
After what you just said, Frank,
he should have played hurt.
Frank, after what you just said about this season and how it can go based on their schedule, why would he play? Why should he play? Because if he takes a hit or gets injured even more, regardless of what the doctor says, then you don't give your chance to do everything that you just ran down on that list.
What I'm trying to say is I'm living in the moment. I'm not living in what could happen down the road, 2 months down the road, a week 12.
You just did by going through that list. You just lived in the future.
I did, and I was seeing it from your point. I was trying to see it from your point.
You just did that though, Frank. When you just went down the schedule talking about they could be 4-2 and looking at their schedule, they could be undefeated for this period of time. You just went through the future.
Right. But I'm assuming Deshaun Watson comes out of the game healthy.
Right.
You're assuming that he doesn't.
No, I'm not assuming that. What I am assuming is he has a better chance of being healthy next week on October 15th against the 49ers by not playing in that game.
Well, I can't
That's
argue
what I'm
that.
saying.
I mean, everybody. That would be true for everybody.
Well, quarterbacks get hurt.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Here's
you got to put a team out there. You can't just say, "Hey guys, we're going to just forfeit this."
I don't know.
So we can get ready for freaking San Francisco in 2 weeks.
Frank, I don't want to do this, but here's the rules of football.
Then do it.
Depending on who you are, determines how they treat injuries. Okay? If you're a special teams guy and you're a little banged up and you don't play, your ass is getting replaced.
I got it.
If you are Deshaun Watson,
right.
If you Deshaun Watson and you're a little banged up and can't go, we'll wait. That's life. Okay?
No, you're exactly right, Leroy. And I was thinking about this. We had a defensive coordinator came to the Brands, a guy named George Dyer. I don't know if you remember that name. George Dyer. And he made this statement, and it took me a long time to figure this out. But he said, you know what? I can treat you all fairly, but I can't treat you all equally. And that's the deal.
That's life.
Yeah. Our rules.
So why are you treating Deshaun Watson like a special team?
Because he heard all this stuff from the fan and WMMS talking about they're down on Deshaun.
Right? And they
I'm not treating just Deshaun. It's not about Deshaun. It's about anybody that's cleared to play. It's not about this isn't about Deshaun. I mean, it's about hey, if you're cleared to play, you should play. Like like Mike Tomczak, like Jim McMahon. I see it. I see it that way. You see it a little differently.
No, I see it like real football nowadays. Football is different.
Well, I mean, I get a vote in what real football is.
I saw Earl Thomas get cleared to play and get hurt. That same injury which ended it. Right? Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah. Hey, by and large, guys, every week at least 1 or 2 quarterbacks get injured.
Right.
And they're out. You know, you go right down the list, all 32 teams. And, you know, back to your guys' point, it's a personal decision. I felt earlier, like I told you guys, I felt I had to play, hurt or not hurt. I would take an injection. I didn't want to lose my job. I didn't want to lose my job.
That's the way football was when we played. It's different now.
So, Mike, let's do this. At $40 million a year, do you still feel you have to play?
Well, it's a different conversation, right? You know, when you're
That's why
making,
I'm
when you're
asking the
making,
question.
when you're making, you know, minimum
That's
wage.
why
like
I'm
I would-
asking the question. 'cause
but
you're a quarterback.
it's a
But
real
with the
question.
pride, but the pride I
It's a
had.
real
So
I
is
thought it was a
that, is
privilege.
it, so
I thought it
Eric,
was a
is it a
privilege.
business decision?
Yeah,
Is
of
it,
course.
it's a business decision.
It's business and athletically, athletics decision.
If you can perform at a high level, you go out there and play, regardless of whether you're
But if
making.
he feels he cannot, then he should not.
Well, you know, we can argue about this all night, guys. But you know, let's get on to a different subject here because Frank's
No,
going.
I let you guys
back to
have
your
the last word.
No,
You
back
guys,
to your
listen, I
corner, Matt.
respect,
Back to
I
your corner.
respect what you're saying. Like Leroy said, it's a new brand of football out there.
Yeah, and there's been guys in the past. I'm sure Myles Garrett didn't play a few times in his career
What they say
because he was banged up, right? It's a business decision. How many times have we talked about this when someone goes to tackle Leroy? The dude didn't want to go in there full speed because why? It was a business decision, right? I'm just trying to say that game has changed tremendously. It's about the dollar.
You know,
It's
you
about
know,
moving
you
the
know when I,
dial.
you know when I knew it was time to retire. It wasn't that I couldn't run. It wasn't that I couldn't run hard, but I couldn't protect myself. Right? I couldn't get my body in the positions to protect myself like I needed to. And so,
Like lowering the shoulders, like lowering the
just
shoulders
getting
and-
low enough,
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
all those things. So I'm like, I'm gonna get killed out here. So I retired. Like there's a lot of different things that go into it, and
Yeah.
you can't just assume that the organization has your interest at heart. You
Your
can't
commodity.
make that assumption.
Your-
You have to
your
do that
commodity.
yourself. So I respect any player that makes that. I'll give you a perfect example. Remember, Chicago went to the playoffs. Who was
Yeah.
the quarterback? Who was the quarterback?
Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler hurt his knee, and they were booing him because he was on the sideline riding the bike, and the dude had a torn ACL.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna be that guy to go and look and say, look like you throwing it well. You should be playing. I'm not gonna be that guy. It's your own individual decision, and that dude has a lot more on his shoulders than anybody in that organization, including Kevin Stefanski. So I'm not going to say, oh, no, you should have been out there playing.
Because I mean, I sat there and watched the quarterback last year get hurt in the playoffs and did not go back in. He wanted to, Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you guys see that clip with Mike Brown, the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals, last
No.
Thursday? Last Thursday, he was out of practice and he drove in his golf cart over to Joe Burrow, and he took Joe Burrow for a ride around the field. And all of us had the assumption that he was going to say, "Hey, you might want to sit this out because we got a future. We just paid you big money and everything." And Joe Burrow went out because it was his personal decision. He probably consulted with the owner, probably consulted with the doctor or his camp or whatever, and said, "Can I injure this anymore?" Because he was nimble, he was ineffective. He didn't perform well. They ended up winning the game, right?
In other words, he looked horrible. They lost.
I know we are.
But we're talking about, we're now talking about the difference between him being able to run around and as opposed to Deshaun Watson being able to throw the ball.
True. He just stayed in the pocket.
I give you a
perfect. They're different.
Hey, I'll give you a perfect analogy. Years ago,
you better make sure it's perfect too.
The Dolphins brought in Dante Culpepper, and they brought in Drew Brees. And they made the determination that it was safer to bring the guy with the injured leg than the injured arm. Drew Brees went to New Orleans. His arm was fine. They made a calculated decision. A quarterback that can't throw is useless. So we sitting here saying how the doctors cleared Deshaun Watson without knowing how well he could actually throw the ball. It just mean he wasn't hurt. Didn't mean he didn't have any strength. It didn't mean that he could just throw it like he normally throws it. That's a tough spot to be in, being a quarterback and not being able to throw it.
No, I guess what kind of, what I'm trying to figure out is Eric and Leroy and Mike, you to a certain extent. I mean, the benefit of the doubt is given to Deshaun Watson. I mean, it's not like Deshaun Watson has won 2 Super Bowls here. It's not like Deshaun Watson has done anything here. It's not like Deshaun Watson is going to be the best quarterback Cleveland ever had. Deshaun Watson hasn't done anything here.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with health?
Right.
What I'm saying is, you would think the guy would be out there maybe
We're
taking
giving
an attitude
here's-
where, hey, you know what? I
here's-
need to prove myself a little bit
No.
to this
Why does he need to
organization
prove
and maybe to
himself?
the fans.
Why? So he needs to prove himself.
Why? Because these people here have been coming to games for the past 30 years without any success
that,
at all.
that has nothing to do with him.
Sure.
The previous 30
Deshaun
years,
Watson,
for the previous 30
Deshaun
years-
Watson doesn't owe the fans
no,
anything when
the
it
previous
comes
30
to.
years. No, not the previous 30 years. He has nothing to do with that.
Okay, well, let's just talk about the last, how long's he been? Year and a half or 2 years with the team. Let's talk about that.
Has
The
he been here
Browns
2
haven't
years?
done anything.
Has he been here 2 years?
And he hasn't done
Has he
anything.
been here he hasn't even played a year worth of games yet.
Right. So I would think
So
that
you
he
can't
would
say
be eager to go
what
out there and do
can't
it.
Say that.
You
can't say
you
that.
I just
Frank,
did.
you
I
would
said
think-
it. Mm.
And it
you
makes-
you would
Hey, don't
Frank.
do that. That's nasty.
Frank, you would think that you play linebacker.
Yeah, no, it is. I appreciate you saying that. It is a little different mentality. No, especially
Right.
I was a guy like you guys. I was a guy that had to go out and play hurt, so I'm a little sensitive to that. I said it on the radio the other day. I said, you know what? Hey, you know what? I hope he has a great relationship with the guys in that locker room because he needs it. Because and correct me if I'm wrong. We all know guys that played in this league, older guys, maybe not in today's world, that if that shit went down, they'd have a conversation with Deshaun Watson.
Who's gonna go talk to Deshaun?
Well, I could think of maybe like when I was with the Rams, Kevin
What are you
Green.
talking about? We talking about right now. Who
No,
gonna go talk
okay,
to
so
Deshaun?
no, I'm talking about what's relative to me and my thinking
Yeah,
is
but football's changed.
where I was. It
Football's
hasn't. I don't
changed.
think it's changed that much.
Really? Okay.
I mean, people don't play hurt anymore? I mean, is
No,
that what you're saying?
I'm saying that because of the way football is, the way the finances are, people treat injuries
the game's
differently.
and the game's fucked up. I mean, if
No,
if
it's
you're talking
not.
about a
It's
financial
not.
situation with the game,
No, it's not.
to me that's
You do realize that we play in a sport that if you get cut, you don't get paid.
no, they get for example, if you're on the roster the first game of the season, you're getting guaranteed money for half the season.
That's
Yeah.
that's not a damn career. What are you talking about? Oh, I'm gonna go out and play because at least I'm gonna get paid for half a season. That's not ridiculous.
All right.
Let me change subject here.
I can't.
Let's table
Like
it.
I
Let's
said
table
when I
it for the
opened it
third
up,
time.
once you do the deal, your deal is done. Your deal doesn't come forward into playing football.
Right.
It's not about finances. It's not about business decisions.
Correct.
When you start playing football.
Correct. But you also are in a position that
That's
if
fine.
you're
Yeah.
not well enough to play, only you can determine that. Not the doctor, not the coach. Like it's amazing. A coach will tell you, "Oh, you can. Look like you moving pretty good." No, I'm not, dude. Stop.
No, it doesn't come from that kind of wanting to play doesn't come from a coach.
I'm more
It
than
comes
sure
from the
Deshaun
player.
wanted to play. He just came off his best week as a Brown.
If he wanted to play, and this is a good point. If he wanted to play and the doctor cleared him, then there's no reason why he shouldn't have played.
Can we leave this doctor cleared him out of it?
We can't do that. That's the doctor cleared him. That
That doesn't mean he can play at a high level.
Only he knows his pain, guys.
Right.
Only he knows his pain.
Right.
If it's a shoulder, you guys have thrown the ball before, baseball, whatever. Your decelerator muscles, if you have an injury to your shoulder, it's painful. It's painful to throw the football if you do have a shoulder injury every time.
Frank didn't play quarterback, so it's of no consequence to him.
Hey, I had
hamstring,
both shoulders, and I didn't want to get hit.
Yeah.
Help me.
Well, let's move forward, guys. Eric, I wanted to ask you a question. It's been ever since I saw this Red River rivalry. I know you got a mighty team down there in Texas. What are your thoughts on the Oklahoma-Texas game this weekend?
I feel good about it.
You ever been to one of those games? You ever been down there at Carnival?
Yeah, of course I have. And I wish I could go this weekend, but I can't. But I've been. You know, what's unfortunate is as a player, I never won that game.
You never beat Oklahoma?
Wow.
No. So look here, I never beat Oklahoma, and then I think I might have went to maybe 4 or 5 where they did not win. So it was like the 10th time. It took a while for me to see us actually beat them. I mean, we beat them 49-0 last year, but I wasn't there, and so you know I don't care.
Maybe you're the mush.
No, then I seen him win. I think it was my buddy. Because I told him he can't come for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're gonna beat them, and then we're gonna be number 1 this week.
So you're Texas is number 3 in the country. Leroy, Michigan's number 2 in the country.
Yeah. We just started Big Ten. So it ain't
right. You got Maryland. You got Rutgers or no? You've already beat
Maryland.
Rutgers.
I think it's Maryland.
Ohio State has Maryland.
Ohio State has Maryland, and yeah.
And this is why we're gonna win and be number 1.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Who's beating Georgia?
They're not playing very well. They're squeaking out of games. I mean,
I would love to see new blood in there. You know, I'd love to see Notre Dame in there again in the playoff picture.
They had their chance, but they choked it off.
Suck it.
Well, there you have it, folks. In the dog pound with Eric Metcalf, Leroy Horn, Frank Stam.
This is the Suck It edition of In the Dog Pound with Frank Stams, Leroy Horde, Eric Metcalf, Mike Tomzak, talking Browns football, raw and unfiltered. Found everywhere where you find your favorite podcast.
Rub some dirt on it, Jimmy.
Right. Tape an aspirin to it.
Tape an aspirin to it.
Hey, you guys seen the movie Be Cool? Frank, what do you tell somebody who has 2 black eyes?
I don't know. What do you tell somebody that has 2 black eyes?
You don't have to tell them anything. He's already been told twice.
Very good.
Hey, speaking of that, next week, I am cleared to be on the show, but I'm going to decide not to be on the show because we have a bye week.
Hey,
what are you going somewhere? Are you being serious or no?
I'm being serious. I don't know if we should do the show next week, man, until we get our wrap together. What are we talk about? We talk about the league.
I'm gonna decline to be on the show next week also.
Are you cleared?
I'm cleared.
You're healthy?
But I have another engagement.
Hey, Leroy, if you're willing, I'll do the show with you.
I'll be in Houston.
You guys can go 15 rounds with discrepancies.
No, I like Leroy. I like.
I know you do. We love you guys.
I hope Leroy likes me. I mean, I don't. I want to be. I want to be liked.
Hey, you know what?
I respect Leroy and what he said.
This text I just got from Leroy says, "I wish Frank would shut the hell up."
You don't say that, Leroy, do you?
But that's, you know how much trouble I've gotten in because of him and K-Mac?
Yeah, I believe that. He is a little freaking
Just say it. Say it. I know you want to say it. Just say it.
Hey, throw this rock through that window.
Yes, dude.
Right. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Go Browns. Get healthy. Get healthy, Browns. Hey, Frank, look like you're risky business right now. Go ahead, risky business.
I'm moving.
Hey, he's looking a little 9.5 weekish.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to a party. I see the cats.
It looks like you're walking.
Leroy, let me know if you want. Let me know if you want to do the show.
You look like you're walking through a Halloween horror's house or something like that.
Oh, he got a mansion. You guys ever been invited to Frank's house? He got a mansion.
No, he ain't got. I know he ain't got no black people in that scary house because we don't do scary.
That's it, Browns fans, Brown Nation. Peace out.
Adios. Peace out, fellas.
Later.